So, out of curiosity, what did you decide to stream? To
Oh
stream?
man,
Like,
yeah.
I tried to look up. My apologies. I tried to look a previous one, but it looks like they've already fallen off Twitch.
Yeah.
But I'm curious because I think that's a question maybe other audience members have is like, all right, if I wanted to get started streaming, what the heck am I going to stream? Is it only open source code? Is it my pet project? So
Yeah.
what decision process did you go through and what are you streaming?
Yeah, that is one of the questions that I asked these people that were like helping me in the DMs. It's like, how do you decide what to stream? The place where I landed is I landed on I want to stream stuff that I was gonna do anyway. Because where I'm at in my life, with two small children and work and projects and stuff, I don't really have bandwidth to adopt new projects just for the sake of streaming. I think there are great projects that you could do only on stream, and that would be a lot of fun. I'm not at that place, and so I decided, all right, let's take a survey of all the things that I have to do. Which of those could be most interesting to do on stream? And so specifically where that landed was I have a couple of Laravel packages that are open source. And one of them I just released recently, and so it's gotten a lot of adoption and therefore a lot of issues and pull requests. And so I was working through on my first couple of streams, I was working through adding tests for those, trying to figure out how to architect certain things, and basically just doing open source work on stream. And that turned out to be a lot of fun because it was very technical Laravel stuff. And there were a few issues. There were a few issues that I looked at and I was like, oh, I don't know where, I don't even know where to start on this one. And it may be pretty bad to do on stream. And so I just skipped it. And so before the stream started, I looked through the issues and was like, okay, I know where to start. I don't know how it's going to end up, but I know where to start. And that gave me enough confidence to dive into it on stream. And the other thing you mentioned, pet projects. I did some pet project streaming. So I have a service called Torchlight that does syntax highlighting. So it's like Highlight.js or not Prism. And I've been moving Torchlight from Vercel to fly.io plus Lambda. And so I did some streaming on moving that over to Fly and Lambda, and that was really fun. That was it, and that kind of caught some buzzwords, right? So I'm like, oh, AWS Lambda and fly.io, and so people were into that. So that I feel like was a fun thing to do, also because it's visual, because I'm deploying to Fly and trying to hit it in the browser. And so I have this feedback loop that's pretty tight. But basically just stuff I already had to do, and I just picked the most interesting out of my to-do list, basically.
Cool. Tina's here. Hey, Tina. Now we're not strangers anymore. Awesome. Meet new people on every live stream. Love it. That's one of the reasons I like to do this, is meeting new people. Marco R says, I feel like open source maintenance might be the most interesting to stream. This is also one of the biggest topics no one teaches you in book tutorial and that you can't see applied anywhere else. That's a good point. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And I was purposeful on the stream to go through the whole process of making the PR, merging it myself, and then commenting back to the person who opened the issue. And that's interesting to hear Marco say that, because I didn't know if that was going to be valuable to show the whole, I'm an open source maintainer, this is what I actually do. But I like that point of view, because nobody teaches you in a book how to write a thank you for opening this issue, but I'm not going to fix it response. And is my response the right one? No, but if you watch 4 or 5 or 6 people write these responses, you'll find the one that you think is right. And so Yeah, it's great. It's also great because all the code's open source anyway. And I think this next, comment, starting to stream, having projects sort of NDA'd. And yeah, I don't know what to do about that. Like, I don't know what to do about not having a project that you could stream because of legal reasons. At that point, like if you have a burning desire to stream, I would say spin up your own side projects. I've seen people like rebuild their blog, which is like right down the middle for developers rebuilding their blog again. But yeah, I don't know what to do. Obviously, you can't stream NDA'd code, so I don't know what to do there.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the situation I'm faced with because I work for Shift 4, which is a large corporation. I can't show the code that I'm actually working on for work. I'd be fired in a half a heartbeat. But and for good reason. But one of the things I'm thinking about doing, because I was actually thinking about getting into this before I had even run into you, and because I want to do some funsy coding, right? Not stuff I have to do for work because that's work, right? I want to do stuff for funsies. I want to do a little side project. And I figured, well, if I want to work on that and I want to just learn some new Rails thing or some new gem or something like that to work into this project, I might as well find a time to stream it because somebody else may want to watch it. And if it's just one other person, that's fine. I'm doing it anyway, Yep. So Zool, on the topic of it's just niche stuff that wouldn't have traction familiarity, I think that you would find that there are a lot of people that would still want to watch that because like when I was on Aaron's stream, when I was hanging out in the chat, I have zero idea what he was doing, right? Or anything about Laravel. But I was really interested in how he was approaching problems, how he was thinking about logic, how the chat was interacting with it. So it was still a really good experience. And having somebody there to give the audience that experience is extremely valuable, I think.
Yeah, I think I missed that last half of his comment about the niche stuff. I don't know that matters so much. Like, I agree with you. I think if you're excited about the thing that you're working on, it's okay. Like, people are going to be hyped right along with you, even if they don't speak the language. I mean, this is kind of a bad example because he is like the LeBron James or some other famous sports figure, but I'll watch Primeagen. And I mean, this is not self-deprecating. This is 100% honest. I have no clue what he's doing. Literally ever. No clue.
He mostly does Rust, I think.
He does Rust, he does Zig, he does all this stuff, and his keyboard looks like it's a freaking spaceship. And right. I'm like, I have no idea what you're doing. And the reason it's a bad example is because who could ever do it as well as he does? But the point stands that, like, it's fun. He's excited. Like, he's excited to be there. He's having fun. Chat's having fun. And that's okay. Prime is a comedian. Yeah, he is. And I could never reach that level, but it's instructive because people watch it for him, not necessarily to like learn something about Rust, which I've still learned nothing about.
Right. Yeah, he is a show. He's an entertainer who maybe happens to be doing programming.
Yeah, maybe he's more entertainer than educator.
He absolutely is.
On stream, he is for sure.
Because he's frenetic. I mean, he's just all over the place. He's got all these wild transitions, and he moves into these other areas.
I gotta look up this guy.
Oh,
he is unbelievably talented.
He is, but it's
gonna wear you out because we're all old. But he is unbelievably talented, and he is a freaking blast.
Watching him,
and you'll understand.
It's like kicking an anthill. He's just everywhere.
Yeah, but it's the most controlled chaos I've ever seen. Because he's got it all down. Like, he'll just he's like vibing with the chat and changing into scenes and doing little sketches and bits and stuff. And then he's like doing the Vim thing where he's typing on. It's crazy. Yeah, go watch it. Primogen. I think somebody can probably put it in the chat, but yeah, he's incredible.
Yeah, it's nutty. But and honestly, like, I follow him. I'm subscribed to him. I love watching him. That is not where I would go to learn programming, though.
No.
So I actually like streams like yours more for the learning type thing, because you're explaining what you're doing. You're not. It's not a big flashy show, and I don't mind some flash and some little entertainment things every once in a while. But you spend time explaining what you're doing, explaining your thought process. You're not typing 8,000 words a minute and flying through pages of screens in a half a second.
Yeah.
So people can follow what you're doing. And I think that's important, because even if you can go as fast as Primogen does, people, especially newer programmers, are never going to follow that.
No, and I think that's a good point. I specifically decided, like, I think Primogen is maybe the most talented dev streamer, and I'm not going to try to emulate what he's doing at all. And so I watched a bunch of different dev streamers when I was about to get into it, and I saw everybody's different style. And I think I took maybe bits and pieces from everybody's like own style. But I'm not going to try to emulate anybody, because one, I'm not going to be that good at it. I could never do the Primogen thing, and that's okay. Like, I don't have to. And two, if they want to watch the Primogen thing, they should go watch him.
Right.
And so I don't want to be doing somebody else's bit, but worse. I want to bring my own spin and my own like personality and style to things. But you better believe I'm watching his show to learn things, and I'm watching TJ to learn things from him. And so I think it can be a temptation to go watch one of these big dogs and be like, I got to do it like that. I can't do that. That's way too hard. I would say, don't make that your bar, and don't like psych yourself out. Just turn on the camera and do what you would normally do, and you'll figure it out along the way. You'll develop your own style. You'll do your own thing.
Right. And I think that's important, because audience members for things like Twitch and YouTube live streams have gotten really savvy. They can tell when you're BSing them and when you're not being genuine. They understand that. So one of the most important things that I like to see when I'm watching any streamer, regardless of whether it's a coding streamer or not, is that they are actually being who they are and not being some TikTok face.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
That just drives me nuts. And the Primogen is who he is, and that's great. That's not who I am. So I'm going to be who I am.
And he is internally consistent too.
Right.
You follow him on Twitch, you follow him on Twitter, you watch him on Front End Masters, and he is who he is all the time. And that's what I try to do too. Like, on stream, on a live coding conference, at a presentation, on Twitter, it's easy for me because I'm just myself. And if you back yourself into a corner of like having a public persona versus a private one, it's going to be so exhausting, and I would not recommend it.
Yeah. Now, to be fair, my wife would say, you're not the same person on stream. You actually talk there. But, it's...
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess with streaming, you got to turn it on a little bit. Crank the personality up a notch or two. Because you are part of that is you are there to entertain and or educate. People don't want to watch you if you're boring.
Yep.
But you also have to be genuine. And
be your genuine self,
Right.
And in terms of notching it up, you're just notching up your personality, not trying to imitate someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
Totally-
definitely
totally
a
agree.
little more animated when I'm doing this stuff than I am
Oh, for
sitting in the
sure.
living
Yeah.
room. But
Yeah. You can't crank up the introvertness. You have to crank
Right.
that part down.
yeah.
If you like this clip and want to watch another one, you can click right here. Or if you want to watch the full video, you can click here.